All right, guys. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Welcome back to the Saucy Sibz with your host. I'm Francesca.
I'm Nicodemus.
And we are joined today by one of our good friends and our dentist, Dr. Blake. Dr. Blake Eyres. Welcome.
Hello.
Well, thanks for having me. Happy holidays.
Yeah, we are actually in Blake's gorgeous, amazing house that you pretty much just bought.
Yeah, we've been here just about a year and a half. We like to call it the Ayers Estate.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, really special, really blessed to have this place.
We're in the Vegas room.
We are in the Vegas room.
How tall are these ceilings?
We're guessing 25 feet.
25 feet.
Yeah, it's basically a ballroom. You feel like you're in Vegas.
Well, my parents actually named this room the Vegas room because they were on a trip in Vegas one time, and when we walked into this house, it just completely reminded them of Vegas, and they're like, "Oh, that's the Vegas room." So
It's perfect.
they've taken it upon themselves to name every room.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. So
I love it. It's fitting.
It is. I feel like if you filled it up with water to an aquarium, you could definitely keep like a great white shark in here, maybe,
Well,
or a
that's-
sea turtle.
that would be me, the big great white.
I know, the big great white shark. I love
Just
it.
went around the house. And we are actually all wearing like almost floor length fur coats.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Because it was negative 30 degrees wind chill in St. Louis today.
That was it here?
Yeah,
Negative 30?
Yeah, I was in
I
the
thought
hot
that
tub.
was only in the mountains.
No, I was in the hot tub this morning, and the wind chill was negative 27. So
I didn't walk outside until we drove here.
Yeah, you didn't, did
No.
you? No.
and it's actually warmer out now than it was like during the middle of the day.
Yeah.
And then this morning, like brutal cold.
Oh, crazy.
Brutal cold.
I went outside a few times. I got in my dad's hot tub, and my man bun froze like a giant icicle. I was like, it was actually kind of cool, but then I was afraid it was gonna like shatter.
That doesn't happen.
I know, but like I was just kind of worried. It was just really cold. I was just kind of like, I don't know.
Wear the beanie. Wear the beanie.
A nice beanie.
Don't you
know?
live in the mountains?
I know. You know, I actually don't wear a lot of beanies. It makes me look like a drug dealer.
Well, if
He
I had
has that
as beautiful
problem.
hair, I probably wouldn't wear a beanie either.
Well, and that's another reason. Well, thank you. You know, but it really does make me like I will wear a beanie out, and the amount of more people that will ask me where I can find drugs, it triples. You know what I mean?
But
are
people
like, hey,
always ask you. You've always looked like a drug dealer.
I've always kind of had that like kind of drug dealer vibe. I don't know what it is, and that's not a flex because sometimes I hate it. Actually, my brother's very straight laced, and there would be times that like I was probably in middle school and he was like a freshman in high school or a sophomore, and this dude walked past my brother, and we were walking down the street. He completely passed my brother, didn't even look at me, walked straight up to me. Can I get some blow? And I was just like, of course you didn't ask my brother. You know what I mean? But I know you asked me, you know.
He looks respectable.
He looks respectable. Yeah, I don't, you know. But,
Well, if you don't got it, I mean, you look like the guy who knows somebody who's got it.
hey, yeah, I'm the, you know. I'm
It's
here for a
also
good
the
time.
gold chains.
Yeah. It's just kind of.
Well, and now you have the fur coat on.
the
so we're
fur coat.
taking it
If
to
I
another
wore this
level.
out on the streets of Denver, oh man, I would. I don't know if that'd be good
I
or
feel like you
bad.
should have some watches on the inside.
Some watch. Yeah.
Yes. What's your wrist size?
Yeah. I got anything you need. Well, we are doing Jello shots.
We are. So this episode's sponsor is the shot caller. So if you guys listen to us, you know our parents invented this. It is it's the world's only patented multiple shot dispenser. It was originally made for making Jello shots. So taking it from your stove, your hot sticky liquid, you pour it straight into the shot caller, and then it just dispenses. No mess, no stress. Fastest way to make Jello shots. So we thought we'd make some Christmas Jello shots for Dr. Blake.
Love it.
We have some cranberry spice and everything nice.
Cranberry spice and everything nice. Those are the red ones with little cinnamon sticks on them.
Yeah, our mom, we told her an hour before we came over. We're like, Mom, why don't you make us some Jello shots?
She jolted out of her chair in her
She
glass
was
of wine.
sitting by the fire, like reading a book and drinking a glass of wine.
And she was like, I got you. And she just went and she made these and had the names picked out. I honestly want to say that I helped with this. I just like watched her. It was 100% my mom. And then the green one is Grinch on the Beach, which I think is hilarious. I don't know. The name just keeps making me laugh.
Because they're green. They got Midori in them.
Yeah.
But it's like pineapple jello.
It's like pineapple jello with Midori melon liqueur and a candy cane. So it's Grinch on the Beach and it's green. So honestly, It sounds like Sex on the Beach, but Grinch on the Beach. And
No, we
Grinch is-
got it, Nick.
Okay, I know, but
We just need to think about the beach with this cold weather. So.
we do.
All right, we're going to set our microphones down. We're going to do a Jello shot to kick this podcast off. Blake's dad is also here watching the podcast. He's going to come in and
sit by
do
me.
a Jello shot. It's a family
Shout out, John.
affair.
My dad.
My name's John.
He remembers his name.
All right, cheers, guys. Merry
Cheers,
Christmas.
everyone.
This is like the most Christmassy thing we've done
I
in the
know,
last
right?
since we've been home. That's John's third Jello shot.
Hey.
How are they? We got a really good everybody.
They're both really good. I've had now the red and the green.
Which one do you like more?
Ooh, we still have a lot left. So
Once
ask me after a little bit more White Russian.
we're slurping them down with some White Russians. Francesca, did you bring a Nalgene of milk over?
Is
It's disgusting.
it just me? Is it just me, or anytime you open any type of milk or dairy, do you smell it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like
'cause
that's just survival.
I like opened the Nalgene and I smelt it. I was like,
He goes, is that Nalgene in your bag?
well, then I
Like, have
tasted it
milk?
and I was like, all right, I'm not a big milk guy. And I was like, what? Is this like milk or
But then my
cream?
mom poured
But it was
some
milk
heavy-
and cream.
Yeah, she poured some heavy whipping cream in there as well.
Well, that's, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like White Russian, vodka, Kahlua, and cream.
Because she has a
Yeah.
lot of baking
Yeah.
to do, so I didn't want to like steal all of her like dairy in the house because
No.
tomorrow's going to be a nightmare to shop. So I was like, "Can I have a water bottle full of milk?"
It
For
was
my
very
podcast.
practical. Like I can tell you that you've been living out in Colorado now for a few years. You can put anything in an
Nalgene,
Nalgene.
yeah.
Anything in an
Yeah.
Nalgene. Like actually, if you see a Colorado person and they don't have an Nalgene, you're like, are you really from Colorado?
I know.
Have
What are you
I-
actually doing here? You know?
Have I said this on the podcast? I don't. Probably. Gosh, I never remember what I've said on here. I had a friend, a dude that moved from Chicago out to downtown Denver. And I like caught up with him a month or two later, and he was like, "Dude, what's with the water bottles?"
Yeah.
And he was like, he
Yeah.
goes, "I've been on a date with like a few girls now," and he's like, you know, like one of them, he goes, "I swear on my life," he was like, she sat down, and then I said something about her water bottle, kind of as a joke, and then she like explained to me all the different stickers and like what they meant to her, and I was like, "Yeah, that's what we do here," like. And he was just like, "Oh my gosh, like what?" And I was like, "No, it's a different world."
The emotional support water bottle.
I'm just gonna
Yeah.
say, like, I remember in my younger days when I first started going to festivals, and I had my first like Nalgene bottle that I took everywhere, and then I put my first like Burning Man sticker on it. Went to Coachella that year, and like I remember the horrible exodus from Coachella. You can hardly make it to LA for your late afternoon flight, and I'm trying to run, and I forgot to empty the water. And the security guy is like shaking it, looking at it. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And he's like, what's in here? And I was like, water? He's like, we're going to have to test this. And I was like, I'm going to miss my flight.
Test
he's like,
it?
Pour
he's
it
like-
out, bro. I'll chug it right now.
I had already gone, like, I'm like through security, but like my bag got flagged. And he's like, well, you can either throw it away or you can recheck it through security. And I was like, I gotta go. And I just took off. I made my flight.
Yeah.
But I remember
You lost your
gifted-
emotional support.
I gifted my first Nalgene bottle to the trash can.
Oh.
I hope
that is kind of rough.
hope someone found it. It was orange. Had Coachella and a Burning Man sticker district. So if it's out
Someone
there,
was like, whoever has this Nalgene was a straight
pour
chiller.
a little
you
bit
know?
out. Pour a little bit out for me,
know?
please. Yeah.
You
But,
know-
I mean, I get it. I graduated from like the basic Nalgene because I like cold water. So I don't know why people carry around like something that doesn't keep anything cold or
Yeah.
warm. But
yeah.
call me high maintenance.
You know, I actually have an Nalgene that I was in a lake, okay, and I was swimming, and there was like some bubbles coming up from I saw the water bottle there today. I'll have to get it back out. But at
From the
our
lake?
parents' house. No. So there were these bubbles, and something came up from like the sea. Well, it wasn't the sea, but like from the bottom of the lake. Okay. And I thought it was a turtle, like, you know, those turtles covered in mosses. And I was like, oh my gosh. But it just plopped up and it was just like a giant mud ball. And my friend, for whatever reason, I don't normally like grab things I don't know what they are in the lake. And she grabbed it. She was like, it's hard. It's floating hard. And then she wipes off the moss. It was a Nalgene bottle.
And
then
you've drank out of this for Nick.
And then we scraped it all off. It's all covered in Grateful Dead stickers.
It's yours. Like,
And then what we did, we spent like weeks cleaning it. We took like sand in there and rocks and got it all out. And it was a clear Nalgene with all these Grateful Dead stickers that was in the lake, covered in mud. I think it just like fermented.
It has a lime green top.
I think
I've drank out of this.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's messed up.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
I think you should post this on your account.
Yeah.
Let's find the guy who lost this.
Because if we brought it back to him,
like, because if I found my Nalgene, I would like cry. So maybe this Grateful Dead guy, I don't know. Maybe he lost it when he was on some LSD, some acid. You know, Grateful Dead.
It's like the Sisterhood of the Traveling Nalgene, but it's disgusting.
It's not that disgusting.
I don't think it's disgusting at all.
I don't think it's as disgusting.
It was at the bottom of a lake.
What's the worst thing that could be found at the bottom of the
so
lake?
mud is not really
A
that
body?
dirty.
I agree.
You know what's all right?
What?
That's not that dirty.
A dead body?
Well,
No,
That could be at the bottom of the lake too.
but it's not gonna.
This wasn't Vegas.
Dirt isn't dirty.
Exactly.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, yeah,
all right.
that's-
Maybe because I'm a dentist and people spit on me all day, I'm just like, what's actually really dirt, or like what's really dirty? Because people spitting on me with their bacteria and all that, or you just have like some dirt.
Okay. I would take
You've seen some
dirt
gross
over
shit.
bodily fluids.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have two dental practices, one in St. Louis in a very affluent area, town and country, and we don't see that many bad shit.
teeth.
We don't see much bad shit there. More like bad shit crazy people.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
The rich people are always so nice.
Karen.
You know, my mom was a speech pathologist in Ladue, where you live, and then she was also one in Jennings. But you know, she always preferred Jennings, like kind of like a deep kind of inner city vibe for people listening. And Ladue out here is like very like the white rich people, basically. And she hated it out here because it was like she loved working in like those other places, but like out here, she was like, oh my God, like these rich people are like batshit crazy.
You know, like for anybody who's listening who's not from St. Louis, like St. Louis is like super cliquey.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh my God,
Totally.
where did you go to high school?
Totally.
And then you just completely judge stereotype. So anybody from St. Louis, like I really try to not bring up like where I live, the house, all that kind of stuff. Because
Right.
once they find out that you live in Ladue, they're like, oh.
Well, it's the city.
You live in Ladue. Oh. It's like,
Because they immediately put you in a socioeconomic background. We almost are just like New York City in the respect of like boroughs, because each little borough has its own personality, its own
Exactly.
history, and you pretty much know how much someone makes by exactly
you can just
where
kind
you
of tell
live.
someone's like background and family just on one question.
well, they also just assume like, oh, family money.
family money.
Family money. I'm like, oh, I wish. I
Like,
wish.
no,
I grew up in Maryland Heights, but I tell people I grew up in Creve Coeur just because I don't want to say I grew up in Maryland Heights.
We're like,
Which
on
is
that-
a big
I
difference.
Huge
grew on like the
difference,
west
though.
side of Creve Coeur. You know, we were like almost West County, right? But no, like it is what it is. But my practice in St. Genevieve, it's in the country. It's this really nice like farming community.
Okay.
And it was actually the first settlement west of the Mississippi.
No way.
So it
I did
has a
not
ton
know.
of history. There's houses
love
there
that.
from like 1870s.
Yeah.
Historic landmarks, and the people down there are just so nice. But we only have like maybe 10 different last names that come in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like all 6 generation
right.
families, and it's like all the same last names, but everyone is so nice. But the teeth,
But the
ain't-
teeth. That's what I was gonna ask. How are the
but
teeth?
the teeth ain't.
Oh.
Oh.
I sent a cousin to you.
Oh yeah, who's that?
I'm not gonna call him out. We have a
Yes,
cousin.
this is
but
iconic.
He is
Do they come
from
St. Jen or to the town and country practice?
Town and Country practice.
Because he's from Alton,
Okay.
Illinois.
Super good looking kid. Comes from a good family, but Alton, Illinois, so a little bit more country, right? So I just don't think the emphasis is put on teeth.
Personal hygiene in general.
Is not as strong.
Yeah.
But this kid, crazy good looking, goes to Ole Miss, and we saw him at Christmas. And he dips. He had 2 big like tobacco
Pouches.
spots on his 2 front teeth, like black dots going into his gums.
Yeah, the tar builds up.
And I go, I'm going to call him Aaron. I go, Aaron, here's the thing. I go, you are cute. You go to a good school. You have a nice family. I go, don't you want a girl to date you? And he goes, oh, what do you mean? Like, I don't know. Those are there. Like, you can't get them. And I was like, oh my God. I go, I have a dentist. His name is Dr. Blake. And I go, you are going to go next week. And I go, it will come off. I go, you don't have to look like a Hoosier. So also for people listening, Hoosier in St. Louis just kind of means redneck, but a little different. It has its nuances. A week later, he went and saw you, and he sent me a picture, and he was like, hey, thanks, cousin Francesca.
Love
He's
it.
like, look, Dr. Blake, like perfectly white, good-looking teeth. I was like, I just changed this man's life.
No, you did. And what was so funny about that is that his mom and sister had tried to talk to him about his teeth, and he was just like, no. You see him, and Francesca's like, hey, listen,
like the bougie cousin.
DM Dr. Blake on Instagram right now. And he was like, you could just DM him on Instagram. And
I feel
we're
like I'm the
yeah.
only doctor that like I swear, like half of my patients come from like DMing me. Like it's, don't DM me on like a Saturday night, like 10:30.
Yeah.
Women out there, like, I'm like, okay, like it's 10:30. You got a toothache? Come on. Like seriously. Oh my God. Open up, lay back. But seriously, like I wish I would have made a coffee table book of like all the screenshots of those DMs. But
Wait, you should.
It's actually amazing.
That's a $1 million idea, actually.
Yeah.
but it's like, I swear, like, moving back to St. Louis, you just have like a following of friends and people, and that's how I grew my business, social media, first Facebook, then Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And all those years, I'm the one who manages it. So I'm the one who runs it. So I'm the one who
Right.
answers it. And sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, Dr. Blake does, he does have an opening this week, but I'm the one answering that. Or like when like that thirst trap like mom on Saturday night texts me, on the Instagram or the Facebook, like, hey, I'm looking to switch dentists. And I'm like, oh, well, Dr. Blake will try and I'm sure he'll do a great job. Let me reach out to you on Monday. And then I just forward it on to like my office manager and be like, hey, thirst trap.
Are the Cougars in St. Louis like a
On the
thing? Are they like
prowl?
out for you?
I feel like we have a lot of them in my practice.
I could see that. Okay, so another thing with St. Louis, guys.
I'm trying. St. Louis is so small that like you got to be aware of like who their exes are.
Oh,
Wow.
because if they're like the hot moms, they were probably married to like a baseball player or something. or-
Like I don't need to name any names, but we have a couple patients where like their exes are
Baseball players.
not people that I want to be on the wrong side of.
yeah.
Okay.
But
Oh,
also
like
like
the Italians.
oh, I'm not even gonna go any further because St. Louis
Okay.
is so small. Like,
Yeah.
but I'm like, it's great having my mom work for me because it's always like, hey mom, you're gonna see this new patient. I won't say thirst trap in front of my mom, but it's so funny when they come in and they're hitting for a doctor or dental appointment and they've got like a crop top on and they're just like ready to just lay back and they have no idea that they're seeing my mom first and then I come in at the end to do the exam. And as soon as I come in, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, this is my son, Dr. Blake.
That's
And their
perfect.
faces are just like,
Wait, you also though, you have such like your dentist game face on. So Nick and I both see you.
oh yeah.
You have like dad at the soccer team, dad at the soccer game vibes. It's like, all right, but like, like
Soccer
the dentist comes in,
coach.
he's like, you're doing great, looking good. Nick and I both like went and saw you and we're like, you were just so professional that we were like, this dude's our fucking friend.
It kind of threw me off, not gonna lie.
Because I was like, who is this guy? You're like, all right, looking great. Keep up the good work. We'll see you in 6 months. And I was like,
Is that how it went? Is
I'm
that,
like,
is that
okay,
how it went when you
Blake.
first came in?
Yeah. I was like, I'll fucking see you at the club. Okay.
No, it's definitely Dr. Blake, and then outside of work, it's Blake. The thing is, like, when you're a dentist, you're a business owner, you have so many different hats that you wear. And,
Completely, yeah.
I always, my dad's best friend, love this guy for so many reasons, but I adopted him as my Uncle Skip.
Okay.
Uncle Skip.
He is a super successful vet out in Colorado, and he's just been such a great mentor in my life. And he never had any kids, and I'll get to the weekend of when I adopted him as my uncle. But, I started going out and visiting him when I was 17, and I just loved that lifestyle, and it was great because he was a doctor. I didn't want to be a vet, but, his influence as just a doctor, he owned a successful hospital, and then they bought up other hospitals, and he taught me so much. And I remember I was out skiing one weekend in Vail at his place, and this was kind of in the earlier days of social media, and one of my buddies iced me, and we're in our gear, and we're just about to leave the condo, and I get iced. So I get down on one knee, I pound the ice, and my buddy puts it up on Facebook. And my best friend from high school and college, super successful. My most successful friend lives out in LA. He wasn't on this trip. He saw it on Facebook, and he calls me later that day, and he's like, "Hey man, I don't know if that's a great idea for you to put that picture up, for your professional career." Mm-hmm. And I was like, I was a little bit torn because it's I own my own business, and I know that people get to choose who they go to. Yeah. That's the best part about the United States. Our healthcare system, you get to choose. And first off, side note, if you don't like your doctor, you don't like your dentist, go somewhere else. Go find somebody else. You don't have to go to that person. And so, I kind of wanted to just be myself. And
totally.
After we got done skiing that day, I was sitting down by the fire, and my now Uncle Skip came down, and I said, "Hey, Skip, this is what happened today. What's your opinion?"
Yeah.
Being a doctor for 30 years now. And he said, "Blake, in the beginning of my career, I tried to be real, by the books. It wasn't me. And especially living out in Colorado," he goes, I just felt like I was being a fake." Mm-hmm. And he goes, "Once I started to just be this personality, and if they find out the stuff that I do outside of work and they don't like it, well, then they can go somewhere else. So you have this great opportunity at the beginning of your career to be who you want to be." And, from that day on, I was like, you know what? If you don't think that I'm a great dentist because I just shotgunned a Smirnoff Ice,
Totally.
then go find somebody else, because not my loss, your loss. And,
Totally.
And so I think that has always been my motto with social media. I was a freshman when Facebook came out. So I was the beginning of the birth of Facebook, and then the beginning of Instagram. And it's your personal account, your business account, you're tagged on both. So it's I've always lived my life, going to Burning Man, going to festivals, dressing up, wearing fur, fake fur, real fur, who cares? And, tutus on 222 Tuesday, who cares? Be yourself. And I love my practice so much, because the best days are when I have all the people that come in because they want to see me. Mm-hmm. Not because they looked at their insurance and they're like, "Oh, well, who's the A, B, C, D, E, Dr. Eyres? I guess we'll go and see this guy." No, it's they see my Facebook and they're like, "Wait, this guy's a dentist? Let's go see this guy." And where I connect with my patients the most is what we do outside of the dental life.
Right.
It's sure, you come in, I'm going to tell you what needs to be fixed in your mouth. But what do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about here in St. Louis, that there's a night chaser going on? Do you want to talk about where you just traveled? Do you want to talk about oh my gosh, you want to go to Burning Man? So it's in anybody. I would just recommend we live in such a different time era where you can have a beard and be a doctor.
Yeah.
You can have tattoos and be in the medical field.
Women can wear pants.
Yeah. Women can wear pants.
Latex pants.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just think that's important. And I pride myself on that. And it was really interesting, having this other practice down in St. Genevieve, right? Because you're in this rural community. And I'll tell you, when I did the TV show, Temptation Island,
We're gonna get into
We're
this.
gonna
Don't
get into that.
worry.
Yeah.
Like my patients were like coming in like, Dr. Blake, man, me and my wife, we watch that every week. We love you. And I'm just like, I can't believe I get more recognized down in that community than anywhere else.
Wow.
I'll be like pumping gas and be
No
like,
way.
hey, you're that dentist, right, from TV? And I'm like, yeah, that's me. He's like, I'm coming in to see you. And I'm like, I love it. And you know what? Like, we're making such an impact on
Right.
that community. And we're also empowering people to just live your life, be yourself. And I think that's important.
I think that's so important. And you're massively successful. And this is kind of a bit that I do. If a dentistry ever kind of comes up, I just go, my dentist is cooler than your dentist. And people are like, what? And it's like,
He does this a lot.
I just, people will be like, oh, I saw the dentist. I'm like, oh, you have dental insurance? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, well, I just know that my dentist is way fucking cooler. You know what I mean?
Well, you like introduced us. So you and I know each other from Yacht Week people.
Right.
Yeah. So actually, I'll back up a little bit. One of the main reasons that we wanted to have you on is that we have people on. We've kind of been like trying to figure out like our vibe of the podcast. And we're like, how do you describe like the friends that we've had on the podcast? Because we haven't had all our friends. And we're kind of like, okay, we have friends who kind of have that secret sauce. So anybody can be successful, but it's like people who are just like going out of their way to make their lives next
Totally.
level. And that I think is like Yacht Week and why you always meet such like-minded people. Because yeah, there's a lot of people making money, but people who want to spend a specific amount of money to live on a boat, which is basically a floating RV, with like 7 other people. You know, it's like Burning Man people. It's like you want to spend your money having fun, partying on a boat with people from all over the world. So I moved to Colorado and I put in the Yacht Week alumni group. I was like, hey, or no, I had just moved back to St. Louis.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, is any other Yacht Weekers in St. Louis? I was like, long shot, but like, I need my international cool like type of people. I was like, I've been living in Europe and New York City and like, I'm lost. And you responded.
I was so stoked that someone else from St. Louis actually left the state, left the country, and was actually back in St. Louis. We usually lose all of our greatest to moving away.
It's one of those like hometowns.
Yeah.
I know.
And I totally saw that. I was like, hey, me.
You invited me to a show that night.
Yeah.
You were like, hey.
Oh, yeah,
That night.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think I was having a pre-party, and I
Yes.
was like, hey.
I showed up at your house,
Yeah.
met a bunch of your friends.
Yep.
We went to the venue together.
The pageant.
The pageant.
What
in St.
show
Louis,
was it?
iconic. Oh,
Ooh,
gosh.
we could probably figure it out.
You know, I thought that you guys I had just learned that you're a Yacht Weeker and that's how you guys met and you posted in that group. Like, I just heard that story. I thought you guys were high school friends because you went.
Yeah, he thought because St. Louis.
Yeah, it's really random too.
Well, we went
It's
to the same high
We
school.
all went to the same high school.
Yeah.
All of us did. But just at different times. Like, I never
And,
went to high
like,
school
I'm
with Nick.
sure we were like cliquiest high school is like one of my other like really great friends in life, Max. Shout out to Max Maley. And we went to the same high school, but we like, I think I was 2 or 3 years older than him. I was a jock, varsity quarterback. But I also was lead trumpet player in the jazz band, symphonic
Nice.
band, honor roll, all that jazz. But,
No
Max
pun
wasn't.
intended.
Max was,
Yeah.
Max did his thing. But like years later, we connected. I was like, he's like, oh yeah, we went to high school together. And I was like, I hate when people know that, and I don't know that. Oh, I feel bad.
That's a big school, though.
Yeah.
No one knew me.
Well, and I'm older than you guys, so.
Well, we never all went at the same time.
Yeah.
But, a lot of people at my high school didn't know I spoke English. They thought I was, which is surprising.
Yeah.
Obviously, I talk a lot. But I got kicked out of my high school, went to Parkway North for 1 year. And
Shout out P North.
Yeah, I didn't have any friends except for a couple guys that worked at Aquaport with me. So I just didn't talk at school, or I skipped school every day with the boys and like went and smoked weed and played video games because I had never skipped school before. 'Cause private all girls school, you don't get to do that.
Parkway
So-
North, though. Them boys smoke them weed.
Oh, that was the
yeah.
first time I ever smoked weed.
Yeah.
And so
Dare program worked on me. I didn't until I was like 25.
There you go.
I was a Dare officer. Dare worked on me.
Nice. No, so everyone thought I was the Italian foreign exchange student because of my name.
Love that.
So many people were like, "Oh my god, you speak English!" I was like,
Oh my God.
yeah, it's a big school though.
It's a
Yeah.
huge school. And it's
Yeah.
also very like, I try to tell people that like, you know, some high schools are more cliquey and more stereotypical than others. Parkway North was like fucking Hollywood. You know what I mean? Like it had every single stereotype ever.
We were the melting pot.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
were the melting pot.
Yeah.
We had more nationalities represented at our school than any other high school.
And the
In
way
Missouri.
Yeah.
In Missouri. Yeah.
the way the lines were drawn in St. Louis, Parkway North had like the biggest socioeconomic differences.
Oh yeah.
So you had really rich kids, and then you would like,
And then you had
like,
and then you had the really poor kids getting bussed in from the city.
yeah.
yeah.
And growing up in a Parkway school district, like I mean, that just was like my everyday life. I had no idea that like racism existed until I went to college.
Yeah.
I played football at Truman State University, and I remember the first time, like in the locker room, I heard the N-word, and I was just like,
But you would never at Parkway
What?
North. You would
No,
never
because you
ever,
guys
ever,
would
ever,
so
ever.
like,
Yeah.
like city
what?
kids.
What? I didn't
It's
hear
like-
a rap song on. Why just like what are you doing?
Totally.
And
wild.
I called my football coach, and I was like, I'm really confused. Like, I heard somebody say this in the locker room today, and he was like, Blake, the way that your parents raised you, the way that Parkway North was, unfortunately, isn't the way that the whole world is.
Mm-hmm.
And where I was going to school, it was a predominantly rural white area, and it really opened up my eyes.
For sure.
And just like, we won't go down that route, but I will just echo about how amazing my parents were growing up to teach me that we didn't see color, we didn't see race, we didn't see ethnicity, nothing.
Yeah.
And in Parkway North for the most part was that way. Like all of my friends, like I just thought it was normal. Like all of your friends like were first generation immigrants.
Yeah.
Like if they weren't like born in Europe or coming from somewhere else, like they were the first ones here.
Yeah.
I just thought that's how the world was. But that's how Parkway North was.
I'm going to bat mitzvahs. I'm celebrating Diwali.
Yeah, 7th grade bar mitzvahs
Yeah,
was
for sure.
everything. Like
See, we grew up so different.
I know, because Francesca went to a private school and so did my brother. I was supposed to go to a private school, but I just said, fuck no. I
did.
want
He
to
told
go
my
to the public
parents no.
schools. And which was so good for me because also I'm gay and
babies,
I'm sorry,
the babies of the family always get their way.
always get their way. You know what I mean? And like also like there was gay representation at Parkway North. We had
Yeah.
gay teachers.
Yeah.
That would have never happened at any private school in Missouri.
Yeah, they
And
still
also
probably-
it's still probably an
Yeah.
issue.
The one that you went to, I don't think anyone's allowed to work for them.
No,
That's
actually,
gay.
Westminster Christian Academy. Let's name it. You're not allowed to be gay and work there,
is
but
wild.
which is crazy because, like, I mean, how do kids have role models if you can't be gay?
I'm gonna give a shout out right now to my office manager, CJ, who won Miss Gay Missouri 2 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he is like the top drag queen in Missouri.
Wait.
Went and competed at Nationals, Miss America pageant, and everything. Like, so I feel like the way that I was raised and going to Parkway North, it taught me a lot about acceptance.
Yeah.
I will say that like it just that was the way that we were.
Right.
And then as I got older, going to somewhere that it wasn't, the influencing people in my life when I went to say, hey, what's going on with this? They said, well, if you're not part of helping fix it, then you're a part of the problem.
Right.
So I was always the person who wanted to stand up and say, no. Everybody can sit at this table. No. Everybody can play. And I think, meeting you through that Yacht Week and then our story, and I feel like our story continues. If I'm just going to pat my own shoulder, I think one of the things that I'm good at in life is bringing people together. Bringing great people together.
For sure.
And I'm so glad that you went out on a limb that night and came with us to the pageant because you got connected to more friends. We got connected.
Well, you've introduced us to our whole group in Colorado.
Which is also kind of nuts.
So, like, pat yourself on the back again. So, we moved to Breckenridge January 2020. I think it was February 2020. You were there for a thing and you were like, oh, well, I have a friend who has a ski house. Come over. I want you to meet him. Our friend Quincy, who will be on the podcast soon. Coolest dude in Colorado.
Oh,
like,
Yeah.
you like. Here's
jackpot.
This is like the
friend.
best. This is like so great. Like I'm like up in Breck randomly. I had went to this music festival called Seven Peaks in Buena Vista.
Ooh.
And met so many great people from Colorado. And one of the girls there lived in Breckenridge. And me, her, and her boyfriend just really hit it off. She's like, hey, if you ever come up to Breck, like you can crash my place.
Who is this?
Her name's Jenny.
Okay.
And oh my gosh, she's got the most beautiful like poodle dog. I'm trying to remember the name.
I was gonna say I don't know if I know her.
You might have met her, but anyways, like I go up to Breck, I'm like staying, and like then I invite a friend, and then there was like a group that was going out to dinner, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll join. Unbeknownst to me, like I actually know like half of the other people come to dinner,
Oh, sick.
and one of them was Quincy, and like Quincy and I, oh my gosh, I don't even know. I think Quincy and I like trace back to like deep Denver days or just ski bum days.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he walked in and out of the corner of my eye, like CQ, and I'm just like, oh,
No
just embrace him, give him the
way.
biggest hug.
Yeah.
And then that weekend is when I earned the invite to stay at Q's ski house. And let me tell you,
It's a coveted invite.
this
Yeah,
guy,
yeah.
this guy had like infamously been running like the Breckenridge ski house for like 10 years. And he's like, oh, brother, like next time you come up here, like it would be an honor for you to stay at my ski house. And I'm like, oh my gosh, anybody gives me an invite, ask my Uncle Skip, I'm going to use the shit out of it.
Yeah.
So I think the next time I come up, like I'm staying at Quincy's ski house in Breck. You guys are up there, and I'm like, oh, you have to come meet this guy. You have to meet this crew because like you have to connect with them because I'm just out here periodically. My job is like to connect great people. I'm telling Q, hey, I've got this friend that I want to invite over to just meet us, and you guys end up being, you know,
No, I think he's the same person, like type of person. I call him like a connector or like a curator of
Totally.
people. And yeah, I feel like some of my best friends, like my best girlfriend, like I've moved to Denver because of Q before. Now we're moving to Denver again. But he got me to move the first time. He invited me out with like 2 people and he was like, I just think you'll be good friends with them. I ended up moving in with the guy and being best friends with the girl. To this day, like he's one of my best friends. It's crazy.
He's been a really special friend to me. I went through a really bad breakup this past year, and he was somebody who I like reached out to. You know, he's older than me. He's kind of been like a big brother to me. And I mean, like, he had been going through a bad breakup, but he was like on the phase ahead of me. And he's like, oh man, brother, you're right where I was like a month ago. He's like, you're probably going to be feeling this and you're going to go through this. And I was like, you're so right. I was like, you're so right. He's like, call me in a month, but go through this, write this down, do this. And he like really helped me out tremendously.
I love that.
He's one of those people that like, you know, friendships to me are like, they're like flowers, you know, you have to put effort and work into them.
100%.
And every now and then they just, oh my God, there's a beautiful blossom. But there's not a beautiful blossom if you don't water it. There's not a beautiful blossom if you don't give it the right soil. There's not a beautiful blossom if you don't give it sunshine. And you can overburn it and all those things. And like Q is just always one of those like flowers that just reemerges in my life. And I'm so thankful for him. And what the best part is like when you have someone like you guys, when you guys are completely going out on a limb, you're not from Colorado. You're like moving out there and you're just like, hey, we're the outsiders. And when I make that connection and then that connection does this, takes you under their wing, then me as the big brother, I'm like, great bird. Baby bird's getting fed.
Yeah, baby bird.
I can go find
We were the
I can go
baby
find the
birds.
next
Yeah, yeah.
baby bird to help feed. And then those baby birds, they turn into adult birds, and they go and the flock grows. And you guys are out here growing. You're not baby birds anymore. You got this awesome podcast.
Totally. Thank you.
You guys are just doing it. I love it. I'm proud of you guys.
We've made Colorado home. That was 3 years ago.
So I was actually at this this like new venue in Denver, and I ended up meeting up with Q, and I was with this guy that I was dating at the time, and so like his name's Sean. He met Q, and I was like, oh, Q, you know. And so Sean was like, so how do you know Q? And I just go, through my dentist. And
It's like back to the bit.
I know, it's like back to the bit. You know what I mean? Like, oh.
We'll take a.
Should we take a break?
We're gonna
actually?
take a little break.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Okay,
All
a
right.
little break.
On
Yeah,
that
let's do
note,
it.
you guys, we're gonna go refresh our drinks, maybe take another Jello shot, and then we're gonna get into. I can't wait to hear more about Temptation Island.
Yeah.
So we're gonna. He even doesn't want to talk about it, but we're gonna get into it.
We have to. I'm sorry. We're gonna ask the hard
All right,
questions.
cheers. Be right back. All right, guys, welcome back.
Hey.
We just did
Hi.
another Jello shot.
Grinch on the beach.
Grinch on the beach.
Yeah. I'm feeling naughty and nice.
The winner.
For sure.
So, Blake, we just wanted to ask you about Temptation Island. Because, I mean, it's just so funny. I'm like, yeah, my dentist who was on Temptation Island, who's also like a friend, blah, blah, blah.
Introduced me to everyone in
like-
Denver.
Yeah. Like, how did that happen? And then I want to get into the behind the scenes of like reality TV because that's my favorite thing to talk about ever.
True.
So I got on this huge travel kick. I did Burning Man and then Yacht Week in like a 6-month period, and it like completely changed my life.
Yep.
It connected me with all the other unicorns and butterflies out there. And I just was like
Yeah.
0 to 100. And Instagram was in its early days, and it was in the days where like you just be you don't have to try. And it was
Yeah.
like I just was like posting the cool shit I did, you know, just because like you get to see your friends and like that's how you connect with people. And I had a chick reach out to me on Instagram, slid into the DMs, and she was like, "Hey, I'm a talent recruiter for reality TV shows, and like I've been following your Instagram for a while." And we love you. And we just think that you would be like a great fit for this show. And the show was it was called Relationshipped. Yeah.
Okay.
And this was in a time period where they were trying to figure out, hey, where's the next avenue of where reality TV was going to go. So they thought reality TV was going to like hit more live streaming, and Facebook and BuzzFeed were the two owners of this show called Relationships. It had already had season 1. So they were pitching me to be on season 2. And basically they pick like 5 or 6 guys. They shoot them in their home city on like what their home life is. And then the first episode airs those guys. And then Facebook and BuzzFeed votes who they want to be the Bachelor.
Okay.
So it's basically like Facebook and BuzzFeed's like version of The Bachelor.
Okay.
So I went through all these interview rounds. They flew me out to LA, spent a weekend out there, met with the execs, the producers, did all of the, you know, the blood tests, the piss tests, the psych tests. You know,
No,
everything.
don't you
The
fill
psych
out
test.
like a
Every-
20-page?
No, it's like a 575 question. Is this more true?
Yeah.
Or is this more false? Like questions like, I like to garden. I like to garden on most days.
Oh God.
I
Like
think
to
about
garden
hurting people.
on some days.
Yeah.
And it's like a test from like World War I or something. It's like a 75-year-old psychology test that they literally use on all of these reality TV.
My friend interviewed for The Bachelor a few
Yep.
times.
Yeah.
Same thing.
And then the psychologist, he's been like doing all of these psych exams since Survivor. So like, it's like one guy. It's like a monopoly. Like I mean,
No way.
like so you know he gets the exam. Like they lock you up in a motel up in like Burbank. They're like, don't come out of your room.
Yeah.
Finish this test. What do you want for dinner? Turkey or ham? Horrible options. Like you're like, this test is a nightmare. Like what? It's like
Yeah.
serial killer questions.
Yeah.
So you like, then you meet with a psychiatrist and you're like, how did I do?
Am I a serial killer?
He's like, like for the most part, like great. I can see where there's some explosions. Oh, I was like,
what does that mean?
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Cause like, I'm not perfect all the time, So you go through this whole thing. And then the horrible part about that is my dad and I, we were going to go to Burning Man that year.
I was going to bring that up. So we still have John in the room with us.
Yeah.
Hi, John.
And,
Shout out to Big Papa.
You took your dad to Burning Man.
Yeah. Side note.
It's iconic.
Side note, took my dad to Burning Man. Mm-hmm. 4-year burner here. Shout out to my burners. Less than 6 months later, I went on my first yacht week. BVI's, and I went by myself. Like I ran into this guy in St. Louis, and somehow I just got on his boat, and then I had so much fun, and it connected me with people to go and do these things. And so that really catapulted me onto this journey.
But it sounds like you had this pivotal moment of some point in your life you just really wanted to kind of take a different direction, and that's what kind of made you start doing so much more.
I think the point of what I was trying to say is that that finally connected me with other people
totally
outside of St. Louis that were as like-minded as me.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh man, we don't just have blinders on. We want to do more in life. And when that first opportunity came up to do that first reality TV show, it was like,
yeah,
hey, I'm all in. Unfortunately, I was getting to say, we went down this whole rabbit hole, but we had to cancel Burning Man, and before I told my dad, I went to my mom and I was like, oh man, Mom, I don't know what to do. Do I try and do this TV show, or do I cancel Burning?
Oh, you canceled Burning Man?
Finally, this was going to be my fourth time going to Burning Man, but I was finally ready to take my dad, and she was like, I think he'll understand. So me and my dad go on a bike ride or something, and I was like, hey man, here's my dilemma. I don't know if I'm going to be on this TV show, but I have to commit to be on the TV show, and I got to give up the RV so I can get my money back, and I need to sell these Burning Man tickets. And he's like, we can always go to Burning Man. You need to try and see if you can do this show.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks later, I get completely ghosted by the producers and everybody, and Burning Man's going on. I haven't heard from the show. All of a sudden, I see the first episode air, and it was very obvious why I didn't get picked for the show. And so we didn't go to Burning Man that year. And that was fine. We had another year to prep. We went to Burning Man the next year.
So this is 2019.
So we went to Burning Man. It was my 4th year, and it was my dad's first time in 2019.
Okay.
And
Shout out
to Big Papa. And I think it honestly worked out better. It did work out better that we didn't go in 2018. There's probably less than 0.00001% of people in our whole world that get to take a mom or a dad to Burning Man.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And not only get to take them, but we did everything together.
That's so fun.
We never left each other.
Yeah.
And that was always my first thing I wanted to do was to just be with my dad. And I was so my mom and my 3 sisters, they were like, oh my God, do not let dad die at Burning Man. Do not let dad die at Burning Man. I'm just he's not going to die at Burning Man, okay? After year 1, dad's take me. I was like, no way. After year 2, dad's take me. I was like, I need a year off. After year 3, I was like, I'm ready to take you. And then I had 2 years of prep. And it just was so special. And that year of Burning Man, we had our yurt, and we had our camp, and we had a little dry erase board in case somebody came by and we weren't there. And we just did this journey around Burning Man, and all of my friends that I had collected around the world had brought gifts for my dad.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
And if we didn't get to connect with them, they would leave a message, and they would, leave something. And it just was the most special thing in the world. And it continues to be so special because all my friends, when I travel around, they're like, how's your dad? Right? And I was like,
How's your dad?
Just as good as when I left him, because we were just talking about Burning Man the other day, and I told him that I was going to come to see you. And he was like, oh, give him a big hug. You know? So Burning Man was so special, and we missed it a year because of a TV show. And fast forward, COVID hits, and as a dentist, I never thought that I would be applying for unemployment.
I didn't even think about that.
So I'm in Vail skiing for my birthday in March. We're at dinner Saturday night, and they're literally like, "Hey, we need to close you out. We just got notice that like Vail's shutting down." I literally skied the
March
last
13th.
day. Yeah, I literally skied the last day of Vail, March 2020. Flew back to St. Louis, calling my parents. My mom works for me as a dental hygienist. I'm like, Mom, Aunt Val and Uncle Skip, I think, have COVID because they left to go to Vail Hospital to get tested. Apparently, Vail was like one of the first big hot spots. I don't know what to do. We worked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Shut both my practices down for 8 weeks afterwards. So COVID hits. We kind of reopen. All of a sudden, like end of July, I get a call from the executive casting producer.
After you're like, this is long gone.
I hadn't heard from him in like over a year.
I feel like this is good news for you.
This is good news for me. Okay.
I got ghosted.
I got ghosted by it.
After the first show, he would reach
They
out.
always come back.
They always come back.
After the first show that I didn't get casted for, he would reach out like, once or twice a year, and he would pitch me something else, and I'd be like, that just doesn't work for me with the time period or work. I'm like, not my jam.
Yeah.
Hit me up in like the crisis of crisis. Like, I just started like rekindling a flame with the girl that lived out of state. So I wasn't really like in a serious relationship. Work was like, are patients showing up or not? Like the world was like, what is going on?
Totally.
And I didn't ask a whole lot of questions, but he's like, hey, I got this show I think you're gonna be perfect for. And I was like, what is it? He's like, Temptation Island. And I was like, never seen it.
What's the premise?
All right, so the premise.
Sorry to interrupt you.
The premise of Temptation Island is, you have 4 couples.
Okay.
They're at a crossroad in the relationship of, do we go to the next level? Do we break up? Are we not meant to be?
Wait, so you went on with a girl?
I did not go on with a girl.
Okay.
And I definitely would not go on with a girl. I would rather go to counseling with a girl than on a reality TV show with a girl. And so I was one of the singles. So 4 couples go to the island. They agree to be single while they're on the island and date other singles. Okay. So you got 4 girls that are in the house, 4 guys are in the house, and then you introduce the 12 singles. I was one of the 12 singles.
I'd kill myself. I mean, not like actually, that was dramatic, but like if I was on, with like an ex-boyfriend that I wanted to work it out with, but he wanted to go on the show and maybe I thought I'd be fine, and they bring in like all these hot girls.
12 tempters.
Yeah, 12.
John like sat off and he goes, yeah, 12 tempters.
So I was
absolutely not.
So I was technically one of the tempters, but it's not like everybody's like, oh, were you trying to be a home wrecker? You're trying to break them up? No, it's not like that at all. Like, honestly, like the 2 houses couldn't have been any more different. You got my house with like the 4 girls and us 12 guys, and then you have the other house with the 4 guys and the 12 girls. I'm going to be really nice and just say the 12 girls. Their house was exciting, like so much fun.
Yeah.
Our house is over here like, think they're going to talk to us today?
Yeah.
Like, they cry a lot. They hate us. We hate them. And
no.
We're not attracted to them. They cry a lot. And did we mention that they just cry a lot? And so, like, a lot of, like, the boring frustration would be us waiting around for them to come out of their rooms because they're just crying. And then you're, like, trying to talk to them. And so, like, you're really trying to, like, I felt like I was a counselor to these girls. And you're, like, you just try and empathize. Because you're, like, but on the other token, you're, like, there's 4 of you. So I know not each one of you was talked into doing this by your boyfriend. There's at least one of you that you chose to do this and you brought your boyfriend. So I'm like, which one of you little snakes?
Yeah.
That's probably the one I picked, but that's neither here nor there. And, but you're stuck, okay? You're on this reality TV show. First off, we had to quarantine for 2 weeks. So, oh yeah, we're going to send you to Hawaii. Don't ask any questions. Fly me out to LA. I get locked in a hotel room for 3 days. You can't leave. Turkey or ham.
Turkey or ham.
They just serve you
Turkey or
3 meals. Do you have
ham.
your phone?
To a certain point. Okay. Then when we all flew, then they take us to the LAX. We fly from LAX to Hawaii. We got like the whole fucking airplane to ourselves because there's no tourism. There's no tourism allowed, right?
Well, that's kind of fun.
Oh, I get what they called airplane drunk Blake.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm gonna be locked up in a room for 2 weeks. Like, I can call dinosaurs by myself tomorrow, all by myself. But I get all the boys just lit, and I'm trying to like see what their true colors are.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna tell too many details of this story, but I vetted one guy really well, and he ended up being my best friend on the show. And he's still like one of my close friends after the show. We were the last 2 guys on the show.
Oh, no way.
So, but then we were locked up in our hotel room in Hawaii for 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Oh my goodness. I've never had a longer 24-hour day in my life.
Yeah.
You know how animals at the zoo pace?
Yeah.
I would find myself pacing my room.
Yeah, I bet.
And I'd pace.
No, it's like, I've been to jail.
I'd pace.
like jail.
So I had never seen the show. So I was like, all right, well, I was super productive during this quarantine time. I brought like all these books and my Bible and my journal. But I had this like planner, and I would plan out my day hour by hour, 15 minute by 15 minute. Right? And my caffeine, my espressos, and like my alcohol, my weed edibles, all of it. Right? And then my sunshine. Like I had this balcony, I got like an hour. Like, let me get some vitamin D. I'm in Hawaii. I can't see the ocean. And I was like, I guess like their biggest diva on the show for that season because like I was the oldest and like probably the only one that owned their own business.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you guys are violating human worker rights like left and right. This is horrible. I can sue you for all these things. Shout out NBC. But anyways, so we would like find each other's, we were like, hey, what room number are you?
Yeah.
And then we would like call each other on the hotel phone like, what are you doing today? Nothing. What are you doing? So like for 2 weeks, all of us guys, it was like we speed dated each other.
Yeah.
To see who we trusted, who we were friends with. But you never really trust anybody.
Totally.
Yeah. And so by the time that we got into live filming, it was like any other season. We had all like known each other. So it made our season really unique because all of us guys were so close before we met the girls.
Wow.
And
do you think the girls did that?
No, I think no, because the couples were in the same room together for 2 weeks. So they're just
so
like
the couples are together.
They're just like probably banging it out. Like,
yeah.
I hate you. I love you. They're just, what else would you do in a hotel room with? You're not going to see that girl for 2 weeks? Like, oh, you know what you're going to think about.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Totally.
But just being honest. So I'm sure that's what they're doing. So, you have this
or fighting. I'm sure some of them fought for
and then they fight and they make up, and they fight and they make up, and then they fight to make up.
Right.
So I would call my parents because I started. Oh, this is great. Shout out Rachel. Thank you. Appreciate you, girl. NYC. Yacht Weeker. So I had never seen the show. I'm like, I'm a student. I'm a doctor. I study. So I'm like, I'm going to watch season 2. I was on season 3. So I start watching season 2. OMG. I know Rachel from season 2. Met her on Yacht Week. Won't go into the details. But
if I went on a reality TV show, I would watch every single fucking season before everyone on.
100%. You got to do your recon.
Yeah, absolutely. Like
the people
you're a
that
student,
don't
you're
are
a doctor.
dumb.
I know exactly.
you gotta know.
Exactly. 100%.
Like
Oh my
you could
gosh.
like go and be like, I'm just gonna like raw dog it and like no. You gotta there's
You
I was writing
need to
down.
learn
I
from
was
people.
writing down vocabulary words that I wanted to use.
Wow. Okay. A little crazy.
you're a little type A though.
Yeah. And
American Psycho.
listen, 12 episodes on USA. Like, I mean, a couple million viewers.
Yeah.
And you got to go back and have your dental practices
Yeah.
and your 3 sisters
Right.
and your mom.
Totally.
You want to come off like talking like a donkey. Like,
Yeah.
I don't live at the Jersey Shore.
I already know I'd be the villain. No matter what I would do, I would be the villain.
Yeah. So,
Villain.
I
I'm
mean,
not kidding.
I
Like-
studied, I prepared. I was so glad I had those 2 weeks because, like, I felt like I came off, I represented myself as well as I could.
Okay.
That's good. That's a good
And-
feeling. I don't feel like I'd come off.
But before they take my phone away, I text messaged Rachel from NYC. I was like, "Hey, it's Blake from Yacht Week. I'm not sure if you remember me." She's like, "Oh, I remember you." I was like, "You got a few minutes to chat?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure." So I call her and I was like, "Hey, I can't tell you much, but I'm in Hawaii quarantining for a show." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, you're on Temptation Island?" I was like,
I can neither.
I can't
confirm
tell you
nor deny.
that. I can't tell you that. Wing, wing. Tell me what I need to know. So she's like, okay. She gives me like the rundown of like, listen,
She's like FaceTime me right fucking now.
I wish she was FaceTiming me.
Okay.
She's a pretty girl. Like, I got good taste. So anyways, like she like gives me a good preparation of like what the reality of doing. And she's like, it's a big hurry up and wait. They're going to try and just fuck with your psyche
Totally.
because like they just want everywhere to be on edge all the time. Yeah. The producers are all assholes. They're going to pretend to try and be your best friend, but like they will burn you over the stakes because that's their paycheck. Just remember, like you're their paycheck. You're their fucking goat. You're their camel. You're their cow. Whatever they got to sell at the market.
Yeah.
Yeah. Producers. Yeah. Shout out to I hate all you producers.
Never listen to a Hollywood
Yeah.
producer.
Oh my God. I wish I could lie as good as you guys because like there's nobody that lies better than a producer for a TV show.
No, I could see that. Even
Yeah.
my little show, tiny little game show, my producer was the most charismatic, most lovely person I've ever met. But I could see her job was to make me look good, like not look good, but they basically interview you for everything interesting about you. They give that to the host. And then she prepped me before I went on of like, hey, this is what he's going to ask you. This is how we're casting you.
Yeah.
So for me, it was being Italian, of course. But like what I'm saying is she went around that room and I watched her. I was actually like, I could do this job because I'm one of those people that's really good at making friends. She looked like the best friend of everyone in that room. And I could tell she didn't give a shit about the people in there. Like
Right,
she doesn't
right,
care.
right,
She
right.
gets a new group of like 30 people a day, like on these smaller shows.
Yeah.
Because they were filming 8 episodes a day. And but she like it was so personable. I was like, oh my God, she loves me. She thinks I'm so cool. She's my best friend. Now, if that person also was like my paycheck or her paycheck was my demise, that's terrifying.
As a business owner owning 2 practices, doctor, knowing all of it that goes into it, I quickly identified that the whole production, this whole thing sucked. You have this like really last minute crew because it's COVID.
Yeah.
These people haven't worked all year. This isn't the same crew that's filmed season 1 and season 2. There's some that were repeaters. They were just some random kids off the block.
Huh.
I understood that the struggles of them trying to find places for us to go when everything's closed. I understood just how hard it was to get food to us for us to cook from Costco. You know, you got zone A, zone B, zone C of COVID. And it's like you got the one girl who there's 600 people on set to film this show.
600?
600 people. Okay, so
What?
So when you got one girl going to Costco for the Costco run, okay,
For 600
she's
people?
going back and forth to Costco all fucking day, okay, between lighting,
Yeah.
sound.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
600
Hey, first
for-
off, shout out to all the lighting, sound, everybody behind the scenes. I loved all of you guys.
I've been
Hey,
on
we
so
love you
much-
all. We love all the
Shout
sound
out to all
people.
of you guys. Patrick,
It's-
my dude that made me look like so good with my fucking photo. Love you, Patrick. But
Oh.
producers,
So wait,
so
actually
600.
600?
If you would have seen the,
I don't
if
think
you would have
people
seen
know that many
the,
people go into it.
oh, I didn't know this, but like I lasted the longest, and so you see everything. And when you break out of confinement, because at the end, when you realize how powerful you are,
Yeah.
at the end, you wait to drop your power card.
100%.
You wait to drop your power card because you're like, I'm not staying in this hotel room,
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
bunk bed by
Yeah.
myself again.
Uh-huh.
You're gonna move me into a regular hotel room. You have this whole resort. Like, stop treating me like a third world victim. And as I was 34 years old at the time filming this, and I was like the oldest dude there for sure. Feeding me like snacks from Costco for breakfast.
Yeah.
While you tell me to like hurry up and get ready, and then I'm sitting there outside of my hotel room for 3 hours on granola bars. I'm just like, no. And then
No.
please don't have a 26-year-old babysitting me, telling me to shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, employee rights. Like, if you want to go into a reality TV show, like, just understand the reality of what you're going into.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing it to make money. I was doing it for the
Completely.
experience.
For sure.
I was doing it for the small, minuscule chance that I would find love. I talked to my mom. I talked to my mom about everything. I said, I'm a weird dude. I'm a weird dude. I live in St. Louis, and I'm trying to find somebody who's not really like the St. Louis mold. I might have to go and do this to find like the right one. Now I'm realistic. There's only 4 girls there, and they're probably a little loco
Yeah.
because like they're coming on a reality TV show. So, Mom, I'm very realistic. Like I'm very realistic. I'm probably not gonna fall in love in this show.
We love some self-awareness.
Yeah. Now be aware, Dr. Blake, he knows how to act. So you might see me on there and be like, oh, girl, you looking so fine. Like,
We've got to watch this
We
show
have
now.
to watch it. I'm sorry I haven't. Like I've watched like clips online and stuff, but I have not watched it.
and
But
and
I would
so
love
like
to.
the thing is, it's like being in a business, where 80% of the production of my business is on my back.
For sure.
And then you go and you're working for NBC and you're this ant on the molehill. You're
Yeah.
like, let me feed the queen bee. And you're paying me this a week. And I can't even get a real coffee in the morning. But I'm the main character.
Right.
I'm getting picked for every date. I'm the only storyline you have. Dr. Blake's going to want some things.
Yeah.
Dude, good for you.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
And like, if you think I'm a diva, whatever. I don't need a 26-year-old to tell me to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, your handlers.
Like,
I've heard they're a
oh,
nightmare.
handlers, yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to fuck you to my handlers. Do better in life. Like, what were you guys making $11.50 in Hawaii, being a handler for 12-hour shift? That's what you want to do with your life? Be better. Like, yeah. Get an education. I'm sorry, but I would
No,
just
I
stop.
hear
I
you.
would
I
just
hear-
stop. Like, I know that you have this on record. So if this little punk ass kid tells me to shut the fuck up again, I'm just gonna go to the hotel lobby, call my best friend who's a lawyer, and I'm just gonna start a complaint case about worker harassment. Because I know that you can't talk to me this way. So
Why do they do that?
It's 6 days in, and I've requested to have my Bible. So I know that there's also religious boundaries that you guys are breaking. So Dr. Blake's not going to film the rest of the day until I get my Bible. Drop
Bye.
Wait, they would take your books?
Yeah. Oh, they take everything.
do
Everything.
they-
Wait, so
How do
you
they
don't
do
have
that?
a phone, you don't have books. That's jail.
I had to steal pen.
To like journal?
No, I would tattoo the other guys. TI3.
TI3.
No, one of the guys from our show actually got a tattoo on his
TI3?
thigh. TI3. No,
Stop it.
no, I swear to
That's
God.
Temptation Island 3,
Yeah,
by the
Temptation
way.
Island 3. Shout out Tommy. Tommy got that TI3. No, like,
Do you put yourself in like an internment camp?
They put us. They. Oh my god! The first night, and first off, they do everything except for cavity search you. They go through your whole suitcase, everything. Like they pull everything out.
How like
then,
dehumanizing.
after the quarantine,
No, truly.
After the quarantine, they're
Francesca.
like, hey,
No,
after the-
I've
like,
been to jail. This sounds like
This
jail.
sounds worse than jail. I don't care if you're in Hawaii.
I cried to the man, my I don't know, bailiff, the officer for a book.
Oh,
and the
yeah.
book gave me great comfort.
With 6 days left of quarantine, it was a Sunday night.
Yes.
Remember, at this point, it's 5-hour time difference from St. Louis. It's like fucking 10 p.m. or some stupid. They're like, in 30 minutes, we're coming to get all your electronics.
What the fuck?
You give me 30 minutes.
Is there
call.
a way you could hide a burner phone?
There is, but like
But like, how
That's what I
far
would
do you
do.
want to
No,
go?
There-
I would do that.
there
I would
is,
survive.
I mean,
but they actually used this against me one night when I snuck out.
We snuck out.
Well, the girl I was with, like, you know, at the beginning of the
Yeah.
show, like, I was just trying to be like, yo, how, like, I felt like I was at camp, and I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
what rules
Yeah.
can I break?
Yeah.
Well, we like snuck out down on the beach, and like, it was like,
You felt like you were getting arrested when you got caught? Like in
Oh.
big trouble?
no, they slapped a big like, we know you have money, so we're gonna fine you $10,000 the next time you leave. And if you look at page 67, clause C of your contract,
Or you sign away everything?
we know you're the only one that can afford that. So if you do that again, we're gonna fine you $10,000. And I'm like, got me.
You got me.
Got me. So then I knew I had to play by certain rules, and then I knew when I would use my weight of knowing where my status was on the show.
Yeah.
You had these other guys that like, oh my God, they just like talk how cool they are. Like in The Boys, they're like, oh man, I got these slam pieces at home. When I get home from filming this show, like I got this girl waiting for me. Like, do you know when the big camera comes around? Like, that's when we're filming, and you're in the corner talking about like how thick your wrist is.
Yeah.
And that's great that you like have a thick wrist, but you ain't got no thickness up here.
Totally.
And we were like, are you going to be the ghost of TI3? Because you haven't even made it into an episode yet.
Yeah.
So it's like, again, like it's like this educational, like, oh man, I can't be so mean to these guys for being stupid, but let them do it to themselves.
Totally.
And then you got to battle producers. Like my whole premise is I came home with PTSD. I had so much anger from the way that I was treated.
Yeah.
From the way that I was treated, like wake me up at the butt crack of dawn, stick the nasal swab up my nose to make sure I don't have COVID, and then tell me to get dressed, and then we won't even film till 11:30 because it takes 4 hours for everybody to get set up. But I'm in a hotel room that doesn't have a coffee maker, doesn't have a microwave, and you're bringing me a bag of Costco snacks. Like you want me to eat granola bars 7 days a week for breakfast, and then look good on TV.
No, that's what they do. I was woken up at 4:00 in the morning to be full hair and makeup ready by 6, and then put on a bus, and
Yeah.
I didn't film until 4 p.m.
Yeah,
But I was awake at 4 a.m. and I was not well. I went out the night before.
My first 3 days, I averaged 3 hours of sleep a night because I got picked for all the dates, and they'd be like, "Oh, you guys gonna throw a party tonight?" And all of a sudden, like at 3:30, they come in and be like, "Hey, shut the party down."
Shut the
And
party
then
down.
they would like when I get demiked, they come up to me and like the producer out of like the fucking curtains, like, "Hey, your call time's at 6:30 tomorrow." PM,
He's like,
PM, AM. In 3 hours.
yeah.
Yeah. Be camera ready.
Be camera ready.
Oh, and then they would use this expression on us. When our handlers would try and tell us to shut the fuck up without telling us to shut the fuck up, they'd be like, "Hey, ice. Hey, you're on ice.
You're on ice. Ice.
Hey, motherfucker, ice."
This is some straight bullshit.
Yeah, and you're like, who?
I would have burned the place down.
Who
Nick.
are
I would
you?
have burned the
You would-
island
you
of
would have burned
Hawaii
the place
down.
down.
And then check this out. And then you have these handlers that think they're so baller, they're so cool, and like when you're like on this break, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, man, check out my check out my IG. Like, I'm a rapper.
I have 10,000 followers on Instagram.
Like when you get off the show, man,
Follow me.
And then, they'd be like, yo, let me like play some music for you. And like, I'm like, what are you making? $12 an hour?
$12 an hour.
All right, guys, we're back after our second break. We're going to do, I don't know why I talk like I'm doing a commercial when I come back.
Hey everyone, it's Francesca.
We're going to have my doctor voice like when you're in the room.
Yeah, give us some of your doctor voice.
All right, so for your gingival health, we're going to give you one more super amazing Jello shot.
Yeah.
Like,
And this Jello
for your
shot is sponsored by
Shot collar.
USA.
Wait, like the fluoride treatments? You're like, this one is how the Grinch stole Christmas. Or, it's Grinch on the beach.
Grinch on the beach.
Like your
how the
fluoride
Grinch-
treatment. All right,
Hey,
John's
Johnny's
back.
coming in. Johnny's coming in.
Ooh.
All right. I'm going to do this one.
Weirdly sweet.
This is like candy.
These are like,
Ooh.
Thank you, John. Also, those pants are incredible.
those are burner brands.
Are they
Are
brand?
they- I feel like we talk so much about all your like travels, the show. What are your? Let's just like wrap up a little bit. Do you have like a favorite Christmas tradition?
Wow. The closest one we probably have is like me and my dad drinking White Russians.
I love it.
I think that we're probably more like every family in the USA where we have all of our family hiccups. And, you know, sometimes the holidays put the extra pressure on the extra family time.
Yeah.
So we are just like that family where we see each other so much that we don't put so much emphasis on like, hey, this is the one time of the year that we're going to see each other.
Totally.
So sometimes I travel for Christmas. Sometimes I travel for Thanksgiving. Let's try and figure out like what's convenient for everyone. What's going to keep everyone from not exploding. We know it's a very like hostile time of year for work and just all the other things that go into it. So our tradition is that like we don't have a lot of tradition.
Okay.
But I remember when I was a little bit younger watching The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
And I realized, you know, you just kind of start getting to that drinking age and like, Dad, are you drinking White Russian? He's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, well,
Okay.
I like White Russian. He's like, well, yeah, Big Lebowski's on tonight. I love that movie. Me too. So I remember way, way back, you know, probably 21, 22, like drinking White Russians, watching The Big Lebowski with my dad, and having a nice White Russian is probably my most favorite Christmas tradition that we have.
Cool.
I think that's perfect.
I love that. I love how close you guys are. You and your family.
We decided I don't think we could take our parents to Burning Man.
I don't think it would ever happen.
You guys got to go to Burning Man by yourself first.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
we're going this
Yeah.
year. We're
Yeah,
gonna
we're
go.
gonna we're gonna go. We're gonna go.
And it's an experience, and the acceptance of everyone there at Burning Man is incredible. And anybody you meet, immediately they love you, and it's the greatest time.
I love
with those
that.
people.
And
Yeah.
we're both like those type of people. Like I was a yacht weeker. Nick traveled years in Asia, and we both know that. And we've decided like this year, like this is our year.
Yeah.
We're gonna find our friends. We're gonna do it. And
Because
Well, you
Can't
don't you don't go to find anybody. You go to find yourself.
yeah,
And this is kind of one of the principles of Burning Man is that your first year, someone is going to take you under their wing. How super active that is like completely up to that person, but someone is going to know like how to get you to Burning Man. And Brandon Kennedy, this kid from Mexico City who I tutored in trumpet in like 6th grade, was that for me.
Yeah.
Now, he wasn't super hands-on when we got there, but I'm still friends with this guy, I still multiple times a year will send him a message like, thank you for taking me to Burning Man. And then the next year I went to Burning Man, it was my responsibility to take somebody under my wing. And then my third year, it was my responsibility to take somebody under my wing. And then my fourth year, I took my dad. And that was like such an enlightening year of like, well, this guy is so good at Burning Man. He's so good at Burning Man. Like, like it makes me realize like maybe year 5, like when me and my dad go back, like I don't have to take anybody under my wing because like me and my dad will go together, and like he knows how to do it. But when you guys first go, you'll have your brother and you'll have your sister.
Totally.
But somebody will have you. And
for sure.
I would assume we split up.
Well, I would also assume.
We do that at parties and stuff. We're together a lot, but we're very good at disconnecting and doing our own thing. We're not like codependent.
And at the end of the day, you're going to come back together, though, at the end of the evening.
Oh, yeah.
And refocus and share your stories from that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, you're like 100%. My favorite person to tell my stories to.
Yeah.
I'm like,
agreed,
oh my God.
agreed,
And you're like, Francesca.
Never believe what just happened to me.
Yeah, you may never see each other during the burn. But your entry and your exodus will be your story together.
Yeah.
And as we wrap this up, like I think something that's been special in my life is I went to Burning Man and then I got connected with Yacht Week, and I always say that Burning Man gave me the confidence to be the social butterfly that I am. Yeah. And to believe in myself. And Yacht Week connected me with the other butterflies. Yeah. And so speaking of butterflies, like you two, I'm so like proud of both of you. I'm humbled to be on your show. I'm super excited to see where this goes for you guys. And like, this has just been like, 2 hours of so much fun, whether we have microphones on our face or not. When you guys come back, I want to spend time with you. I want to hang out with you
for sure.
And like, it's great to like, have you guys in my new home. And, I have my dad here, obviously, my mom, and, that's just how we do life. And I know that you guys were a close family, and, the spirit of what we believe in, what I've been taught is that be inclusive, but try. Yeah. Be inclusive, but try. Believe in other people, accept what they contribute, and, try and share a bond. Totally. And, in the holiday spirit, whatever religion you believe in, whatever religion you don't, whatever you have, whatever you're looking for, it's always a just great time of the year to just take a pause, be thankful for what you have, put some time into what you want, and collect the people around you to celebrate what you've accomplished.
For sure.
I love it.
And to you guys are so awesome.
John, do you have any words of wisdom to impart upon us right at the end?
I think the relationship of you guys as siblings is going to be great all your lives. Blake and I have enjoyed a father-son relationship, and he takes me on trips with him. And I love it because I get to connect and gel with his friends. And I love younger people of 36 years old. I'm 68, so it's a great experience for me. And so that's what I love the most. It's great.
That's so cool. Well,
so
cheers, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for listening.
Blake,
awesome.
Wow.
Blake, thank you so much for having us here, both of you guys. Cheers. Merry Christmas, guys. We'll talk to you soon in the new year.
Absolutely. Bye, guys.
Chef's kiss.